Zara Moretti's hands trembled as she gripped the steering wheel, staring at the eviction notice crumpled on the passenger seat. It was 2:47 a.m., and the parking lot security guard was tapping on her window again. This was the third night in a row. She started the engine with the last bit of gas in her tank and drove to another empty lot, tears streaming down her face. 6 months ago, she'd been a marketing manager with a corner office. Now, she was sleeping in a 15-year-old Honda Civic with a broken passenger window covered in plastic wrap. The temperature had dropped to 38 degrees, and all she had was a thin blanket Maya had given her before she'd stopped answering her best friend's calls. Pride, Zara thought bitterly, was an expensive luxury she could no longer afford. But what Zara didn't know was that in exactly 17 hours, a complete stranger would give her one piece of advice that would transform her from a homeless woman into the founder of a $50 million global brand. This is that story. The morning sun cut through the plastic-wrapped window like a knife, waking Zara from restless sleep. Her back ached from the contorted position she'd slept in, wedged between the front and back seats. She checked her phone, 6:15 a.m., and 12 new rejection emails from the job applications she'd sent yesterday. She'd applied to 247 positions in the last 3 months. Not one interview. At 32 years old, Zara had become invisible. She grabbed her gym bag from the trunk, the membership she'd kept because it was her only access to a shower, and drove to the 24-hour fitness center across town. The morning staff knew her now, had stopped asking why she arrived so early with luggage. In the locker room, she washed her hair in the sink, brushed her teeth, and changed into the one professional outfit she'd managed to keep clean. Looking in the mirror, she practiced smiling. "You've got this," she whispered to her reflection, but the woman staring back looked hollow, defeated. By 9 a.m., she was at the public library, her temporary office. The librarians had stopped questioning why she spent 8 hours a day there. She opened her laptop, the screen flickering because the battery was dying and she couldn't afford a replacement. But today, she couldn't focus on job applications. Instead, she pulled out the worn notebook she'd been carrying for months, the one filled with sketches and ideas she'd convinced herself were foolish dreams. Zara had always loved fashion, but more than that, she'd been obsessed with sustainability. Before losing everything, she'd spent weekends at thrift stores and estate sales, transforming forgotten materials into beautiful accessories. Her apartment had been filled with bags, jewelry, and scarves she'd made from recycled leather, vintage fabrics, and repurposed metals. When the eviction happened, she'd had to throw most of it away. The memory still stung. She sketched a new design, a messenger bag made from old seatbelts and recycled canvas, when her phone buzzed. It was a text from Leo, her younger brother. "Sis, I got paid today. Can send you $50 if you need it." Zara's throat tightened. Leo was 23, working 2 jobs to pay for community college, living in a cramped apartment with 3 roommates. She'd been sending him money just a year ago. She typed back, "I'm good, use it for your tuition," and immediately hated herself for lying. But she couldn't take money from her baby brother. She was supposed to be the one protecting him. At 3 p.m., hunger forced her out of the library. She'd eaten 1 protein bar in the last 24 hours, rationing the box of 6 she'd bought 3 days ago. She had $11.37 to her name. $11.37 between her and complete destitution. She walked 6 blocks to Mrs. Chen's coffee shop, a tiny place wedged between a laundromat and a tax preparation office. The coffee was cheap, and Mrs. Chen had never rushed her to leave. Zara ordered a small black coffee for $2.50 and sat at the corner table, making the cup last as long as possible. She opened her notebook again, sketching, calculating material costs, designing a business that existed only in her imagination. What was the point? She couldn't even afford to eat, let alone start a business. "Those are beautiful designs." Zara looked up, startled. An older man stood beside her table, maybe in his early 60s, with silver hair and kind eyes. He wore an expensive suit, the kind she used to see on executives in her old office building. She immediately closed her notebook, embarrassed. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to intrude, he said, gesturing to the empty chair across from her. May I sit? The place is packed. He was lying. There were 4 empty tables. Zara nodded, wary. The man sat down, setting his coffee on the table. He didn't say anything for a moment, just looked at her with an expression she couldn't quite read. Finally, he spoke. I saw your notebook. Those designs, they're special. Are you a designer? I used to make things, Zara said quietly. It's just a hobby. A hobby that clearly matters to you, the man said. I'm Vincent, by the way. Vincent Cross. Zara Moretti. She shook his extended hand, noticing how her own fingers trembled. Vincent smiled. Zara, can I ask you something? And please be honest. When's the last time you ate a real meal? Zara felt her face flush. She started to lie, but something about his eyes stopped her. 2 days ago, she admitted. Without a word, Vincent stood and walked to the counter. He returned 5 minutes later with 2 sandwiches, a bag of chips, and a large coffee. He pushed them across the table. Eat, please. I insist. Zara's pride screamed at her to refuse, but her stomach won. She unwrapped the sandwich and took a bite, trying not to cry at how good food tasted. Vincent didn't watch her eat, didn't make her feel pitied. He just sipped his coffee and looked out the window. I was homeless once, Vincent said suddenly. 28 years ago. I was living under a bridge in Philadelphia, convinced my life was over. I was 43 years old, divorced, bankrupt, and I'd lost my construction business in the recession. Everyone I knew had given up on me. I'd given up on myself. Zara stopped chewing, staring at him. This man in the expensive suit had been homeless? A stranger changed my life, Vincent continued. Not with money, though he did buy me lunch a lot like this. He changed my life with one piece of advice. And I've spent the last 28 years trying to pay that forward. He looked at her directly. So I'm going to give you that same advice, and then I'm going to ask you a question. Fair? Zara nodded, unable to speak. Vincent leaned forward. Stop trying to get back to where you were. Build something nobody can take from you. The words hit Zara like a physical force. She'd been so focused on returning to her old life, getting another corporate job, another apartment, another version of the stability she'd lost. It had never occurred to her that maybe that life was gone forever. That maybe she needed to create something entirely new. What you had, someone took from you, Vincent said. A company downsized, a landlord evicted you, circumstances stole your stability. But if you build something yourself, something that comes from here, he tapped his chest, nobody can ever take that from you. You understand? I think so, Zara whispered. Now my question, what are you passionate about? Not what job you think you should get, not what's practical. What makes you come alive? Zara hesitated, then slowly opened her notebook. She showed him her designs, the bags and accessories made from recycled materials. I love taking things people throw away and making them beautiful. I love the idea that nothing has to be waste, that everything deserves a second chance. Vincent studied the sketches, and when he looked up, his eyes were bright. This is it. This is what you build. I can't, Zara said, the words tumbling out. I don't have money, I don't have supplies, I don't even have a place to live. I'm sleeping in my car. How am I supposed to start a business? Start with what you have, not what you need, Vincent said firmly. You have a car, you have a gym membership, you have this notebook full of brilliant ideas. You have hands that can create. That's more than I had when I started over. He reached into his wallet and pulled out 5 $20 bills. Take this. Not as charity, as an investment. Create 1 product. Sell it. Use that money to make 2 more. Then 4. Then 8. Build it slowly, but build it yourself. Zara stared at the money on the table, tears blurring her vision. Why are you doing this? Because someone did it for me, Vincent said simply. And because I can see something in you. You're not broken, Zara. You're being rebuilt into something stronger. Take the money. She took it with shaking hands. I don't know how to thank you. Thank me by succeeding. And when you do, find someone else who needs that same push and pay it forward. Vincent stood, handed her a business card with just his name and a phone number. Call me when you make your first $1,000. I want to hear about it. He left, and Zara sat there, staring at the $100 in her hands. For the first time in 6 months, she felt something she'd thought was dead: hope. The next morning, Zara drove to every thrift store in a 20-mile radius. She spent $73 on materials: old leather jackets, vintage seatbelts from a junkyard, canvas bags, and a box of assorted metal hardware. She kept $27 for gas and food. In the parking lot of a closed shopping center, she transformed her car into a workshop. Using scissors, needle and thread, and a determination that burned like fire, she created her first product: a messenger bag made from a repurposed leather jacket and car seatbelts with vintage brass buckles. It took her 16 hours over 2 days. Her fingers bled from pushing the needle through thick leather. Her back screamed from hunching over in the cramped car. But when she finished, holding the bag in her hands, she felt something she hadn't felt in months: pride. She'd created something beautiful from trash. That Saturday, she set up at a local flea market, paying the $15 vendor fee with money she could barely spare. She laid her one bag on a borrowed card table, surrounding it with her sketches. People walked by. Most didn't stop. She stood there for 4 hours, watching vendors around her make sales, wondering if she'd made a terrible mistake. Then a woman stopped. She was maybe 50, with gray-streaked hair and curious eyes. She picked up the bag, examining the stitching, running her fingers over the repurposed leather. "Did you make this?" the woman asked. "Yes," Zara said, her voice steadier than she felt. "It's made entirely from recycled materials. The leather is from a thrift store jacket, the straps are repurposed seatbelts, and the buckles are vintage." "It's gorgeous," the woman said. "How much?" Zara had practiced this moment in her head 100 times. $75. The woman didn't hesitate. "I'll take it." Zara's hands shook as she wrapped the bag in tissue paper. When the woman handed her the cash, Zara nearly cried. $75. She'd just made $75 from something she'd created with her own hands. After the woman left, Zara sat down on the curb and let the tears come. They were tears of relief, of validation, of possibility. She called Maya, her best friend who she'd been avoiding for months. Maya answered on the first ring. "Zara? Oh my God, are you okay? I've been so worried." "Maya, I just sold something. I made a bag and I sold it for $75. There was a pause, then Maya's voice came back, thick with emotion. "You're making bags again? Zara, where are you staying? Please let me help you." "I'm staying." "I'm figuring it out," Zara said, unable to admit she was still living in her car. "But Maya, I think I'm onto something. I think I can really do this." "Then let me help," Maya insisted. "Come to my apartment. You can use my sewing machine, my supplies. I have an extra room. Please." Pride warred with desperation. Finally, desperation won. "Okay," Zara whispered. "Okay." If you're enjoying this story of transformation and resilience, hit that subscribe button and drop a comment below telling us about a time someone gave you advice that changed your life. Let's build a community of people who believe in second chances. Moving into Maya's spare room felt like emerging from underwater. Zara had a bed, a shower whenever she needed one, and a friend who believed in her. Maya was a social media manager for a tech startup, and she immediately saw potential in Zara's story. "You need to document this," Maya said one evening as Zara worked on her third bag at the dining room table. "People love authentic stories. Show them the process, the transformation from trash to treasure." "I don't know," Zara hesitated. "Who wants to watch me sew?" "Everyone," Maya said firmly. "Trust me. Let me help you set up an Instagram account." They called it Revive. The name came to Zara in the middle of the night. Revive, giving materials a second life, giving herself a second chance. Maya took photos of Zara's process, the before and after shots of materials, the close-ups of stitching and details. They posted the first image with a simple caption: "This used to be trash. Now it's treasure. Follow the journey." The account gained 10 followers in the first week. Then 50. Then 200. People commented, asking where they could buy the pieces. Zara started taking custom orders, working late into the night, creating bags, wallets, and accessories from recycled materials. She returned to the flea market every weekend, and her tables started drawing crowds. 3 months after meeting Vincent, Zara had saved enough to rent a tiny studio apartment. It wasn't much, just 400 square feet with peeling paint and a radiator that clanked, but it was hers. She called Leo, her brother, and told him he could come stay with her. He'd been crashing on friends' couches, too proud to ask for help just like his sister. "Really?" Leo's voice cracked. "You sure you have room?" "We'll make room," Zara said. "We're family. We stick together." The night Leo moved in, they ate pizza on the floor of the empty apartment, and Zara told him everything. About losing her job, living in her car, meeting Vincent, the $100 that started it all. Leo listened, his eyes wide. "So you're really doing this? Building a business?" he asked. "I'm trying," Zara said. "Some days I make $200. Some days I make nothing. But I'm trying." "Then I'll help," Leo said. "I can do your website, handle your online orders. I'm good with that stuff." Together, they built Revive's first website. Leo designed it, Zara photographed her products, and Maya marketed it on social media. Orders started coming in online, not just from the flea market. 5 orders a week became 10, then 20. Zara hired her first employee, a young designer named Rashid Coleman she'd met at the flea market. He'd been selling hand-painted shoes, and his eye for color was extraordinary. "I can't pay much," Zara admitted when she offered him the job. "I don't need much," Rashid said. "I just need a chance." 6 months in, Revive was generating $5,000 a month in revenue. Zara had moved production into a small shared workshop space, and she had a team of 3, including herself. But she'd hit a wall. To grow bigger, to get into stores, to really scale, she needed investment capital. She scheduled meetings with 7 different investors, preparing a pitch deck, practicing her presentation until she could recite it in her sleep. The first 6 meetings were rejections. Polite but firm. Too risky. Not scalable. Come back when you have more traction. The 7th meeting was with Patricia Ashford, a prominent investor known for backing sustainable brands. Zara sat across from Patricia in a gleaming conference room, presenting Revive's story, the growth numbers, the vision for expansion. Patricia listened without expression, then leaned back in her chair. "Ms. Moretti, your story is compelling. Homeless to business owner, that's certainly interesting. But interesting doesn't make money. You have no business degree, no management experience, and frankly, your background raises red flags. How do I know you won't end up homeless again, taking my investment with you?" The words hit Zara like a slap. She felt her face burn, her carefully prepared composure cracking. "With all due respect, Ms. Ashford, my background is exactly why I'll succeed. I've built this from nothing. I know how to survive, how to adapt, how to fight. That's worth more than any business degree." "That's a nice sentiment," Patricia said coldly, "but sentiment doesn't generate returns." "My answer is no." Zara left the meeting humiliated, furious, and devastated. She sat in her car in the parking garage and called Vincent. She hadn't spoken to him in months, but she needed to hear his voice. "She called me a liability," Zara said, fighting tears. "She said being homeless makes me a bad investment." "And what do you think?" Vincent asked calmly. "I think she's wrong. I think I'm stronger because of what I survived." "Then prove it," Vincent said. "Not to her, to yourself. Find another way. There's always another way." That night, Zara, Maya, and Leo sat around her apartment brainstorming. If traditional investors wouldn't take a chance on her, she'd go directly to the people. "Crowdfunding," Maya said suddenly. "We launch a campaign, tell your whole story, let people invest directly. If they believe in you, they'll back you." They spent 2 weeks preparing the campaign. Zara wrote her story honestly, holding nothing back. The homelessness, the $100 from a stranger, building Revive from her car. Maya filmed a video of Zara in the workshop, showing the process, introducing the team, explaining the vision. Leo built the campaign page, making it beautiful and compelling. They launched on a Tuesday morning with a goal of $250,000 in 30 days. Zara shared it on Instagram, sent it to everyone she knew, posted it in sustainable fashion forums. The first day, they raised $5,000. The second day, $15,000. Then something unexpected happened. The story went viral. A popular lifestyle blogger shared the campaign, calling Zara's journey the most authentic entrepreneurial story I've seen. News outlets picked it up. From homeless to hopeful, one woman's fashion revolution. The campaign exploded. $10,000 a day, then $20,000, then $50,000. People weren't just investing in a business, they were investing in Zara's story, in the idea that second chances were possible. On day 23, the campaign hit its goal. By day 30, they'd raised $412,000. Zara stood in the workshop, looking at the final number on the screen, and couldn't stop crying. Rashid hugged her. Leo was shouting. Maya was filming the whole thing for Instagram. We did it, Zara whispered. We actually did it. With the funding, Revive transformed. Zara moved into a real workshop, a 3,000 square foot space with proper equipment and room to grow. She hired 10 employees, all of them people who'd faced their own struggles, formerly incarcerated individuals, people in recovery, those who'd experienced homelessness. She partnered with a manufacturer who specialized in sustainable production. Revive's products started appearing in boutiques across the country, 50 stores in the first 6 months. But success brought new challenges. A competing sustainable fashion brand, owned by a man named Damien Caldwell, approached Zara with a buyout offer. She met him at a trendy downtown restaurant, and Damien laid out his offer, $500,000 for full ownership of Revive. You've had a good run, Damien said condescendingly. But you're in over your head. You don't have the experience to compete at this level. Take the money, walk away a winner. Zara looked at him across the table, remembering Patricia Ashford's words, remembering every person who'd underestimated her. Revive isn't for sale. Not for $500,000, not for $5 million. Damien's smile disappeared. That's a mistake. This industry is brutal. I'll make sure you don't survive it. Then I guess we'll see, Zara said, standing up and walking out. The next 6 months were war. Damien's company launched a social media campaign questioning Revive's sustainability claims, suggesting the materials weren't truly recycled. Orders dipped. Stores got nervous. Zara spent sleepless nights worrying they'd lose everything. Then Maya found it. Damien's own company had been caught greenwashing, claiming their products were sustainable when they weren't. She compiled the evidence, public records, insider testimonies, and they released it all. The backlash against Damien was swift and brutal. His company's stock dropped 30% in a week. Meanwhile, an independent audit confirmed Revive's sustainability claims were accurate and exceeded industry standards. Marcus Webb, an ethical investor who specialized in social enterprises, reached out during the chaos. I've been watching you, he told Zara in their first meeting. The way you handled Caldwell, the way you've built this company, it's exactly the kind of business I want to support. I'd like to offer you $2 million for a 20% stake. Zara didn't hesitate. Let's do it. With Marcus's investment and expertise, Revive went international. The first overseas store opened in London, then Paris, then Tokyo. Zara hired a full team, scaling operations while maintaining the company's values. She implemented a program where 30% of new hires came from homeless shelters and recovery programs, giving people the same second chance Vincent had given her. 2 years after the crowdfunding campaign, Revive was generating $23 million in annual revenue. 3 years in, $50 million. Zara was featured in Forbes, Fast Company, and Business Insider. But the moment that mattered most came when she received an invitation to speak at a major business conference. Standing backstage before her keynote, Zara thought about the parking lot where she'd slept in her car, about the library where she'd sketched impossible dreams, about Mrs. Chen's coffee shop where a stranger had changed her life. She walked onto the stage to thunderous applause and looked out at the 1,000 people in the audience. And there, in the third row, she saw Vincent. He was smiling, tears in his eyes, giving her a standing ovation. Zara began her speech. 5 years ago, I was sleeping in my car. I had $11 to my name and no prospects for the future. I was convinced my life was over. Then a stranger bought me a sandwich and gave me one piece of advice. Stop trying to get back to where you were and build something nobody can take from you. She told the whole story, holding nothing back. The homelessness, the $100 investment, the failures and victories. When she talked about the crowdfunding campaign, she saw people wiping their eyes. When she described Damien's attacks, she heard angry murmurs. When she revealed Revive's current success, the applause was deafening. But here's what I want you to understand, Zara said, her voice strong. I didn't get lucky. I got wise. One conversation changed my life because I was finally ready to hear it. Vincent didn't give me money. He gave me permission to believe in myself again. He taught me that what you build with your own hands, with your own heart, nobody can ever take from you. She paused, looking directly at Vincent. Today, I'm announcing the Vincent Cross Foundation. It will provide microloans and mentorship to individuals experiencing homelessness who have business ideas. Because everyone deserves a second chance. Everyone deserves someone who believes in them. Vincent stood,
proud of you, Vincent.
tears streaming down
Thank
his
you. It's
face,
been a
and the
journey.
entire audience rose with him. The applause lasted for 3 full minutes. After the speech, Patricia Ashford approached Zara. The investor looked older, humbled. Miss Moretti, I owe you an apology. When you came to me, I saw your homelessness as a weakness. I couldn't see it was your superpower. I was wrong, and I'm sorry. Zara shook her hand. Thank you for saying that. But honestly, your rejection taught me something important. The only person who needs to believe in me is me. Before you click away, if this story moved you, hit that like button and subscribe to our channel for more incredible stories of transformation and resilience. Drop a comment and tell us, what's one piece of advice that changed your life? We read every single comment, and your story might inspire someone who needs to hear it today. Later that evening, Zara found herself back at Mrs. Chen's coffee shop. The place hadn't changed, still squeezed between the laundromat and the tax office, still serving cheap coffee and overpriced sandwiches. She ordered a black coffee and sat at the same corner table where Vincent had found her 5 years earlier. She opened her leather portfolio, Revive's logo embossed on the front, and reviewed the foundation's applications. 37 people had applied in the first week, each with a story of struggle and a dream for something better. She read through them carefully, marking the ones that resonated, making notes. A young woman sat at a nearby table, maybe 25, with a backpack that looked like it held everything she owned. She had a notebook open, sketching something, but her hands kept stopping, her shoulders slumping with defeat. Zara watched her for a moment, remembering that feeling, that crushing weight of hopelessness. She stood, walked over, and gently cleared her throat. Excuse me, Zara said with a warm smile. I couldn't help but notice your notebook. Are you a designer? The young woman looked up, startled, defensive. Just doodling. It's nothing. May I see? Zara asked. Hesitantly, the woman turned her notebook. The sketches were remarkable, jewelry designs made from natural materials, organic and beautiful. These are stunning, Zara said honestly. I'm Zara Moretti. I own a sustainable fashion company called Revive. Can I buy you a coffee? I'd love to hear about your work. The young woman's eyes filled with tears. You're Zara Moretti? I follow Revive on Instagram. I'm actually homeless right now. Lost my apartment 2 months ago. I probably shouldn't even be in here. Zara sat down without asking permission. I was homeless too. 5 years ago, I was sleeping in my car right here in this parking lot. And in this exact coffee shop, a stranger changed my life. He bought me lunch and gave me advice that led to everything I have now. Really? The woman whispered. Really, Zara confirmed. So here's what I want to do. I want to buy you lunch, and I want to hear about these designs. And then, if you're interested, I want to tell you about a foundation that provides microloans to people exactly like you. People with talent and dreams who just need someone to believe in them. The young woman started crying, and Zara handed her a napkin, remembering Vincent's kindness, remembering the sandwich that had tasted like hope. "What's your name?" Zara asked gently. "Nicole," the young woman said. "Nicole Torres." "Well, Nicole Torres, today might just be the day that changes your life. But first, let's get you some food." As they ordered sandwiches and Nicole told her story, Zara felt the circle closing, the cycle continuing. Vincent had saved her, and now she could save someone else. This was the real success, she realized. Not the $50 million, not the international stores, not the magazine covers. This moment, right here, passing forward the gift that had been given to her. That night, lying in her bed in the beautiful loft apartment she now called home, Zara thought about the journey. From a parking lot to a penthouse. From $11 to $50 million. From hopeless to hopeful. But the number that mattered most wasn't in her bank account. It was the 37 applications for the Vincent Cross Foundation, 37 people who needed exactly what she'd needed 5 years ago, a chance. Her phone buzzed. A text from Vincent. "Proud of you" doesn't even begin to cover it. "You've taken what I gave you and multiplied it 1,000 times. That's the true measure of success." She texted back, "I found someone today. Just like you found me. Her name is Nicole. I think she's going to do amazing things." "Then my gift to you has become your gift to her," Vincent replied. "And one day, it will be her gift to someone else." That's how we change the world, Zara. One sandwich, one conversation, one act of belief at a time. Zara smiled, set her phone down, and looked around her loft. On the wall hung that first messenger bag she'd made, the one that sold for $75 at the flea market. She'd never sold it after that woman returned it, asking Zara to keep it as a reminder. Next to it was a framed copy of Vincent's business card and a photo of her sleeping in her car, taken by Maya when she'd finally been honest about her situation. She kept these reminders because success wasn't just about where you ended up. It was about remembering where you'd been, honoring the struggle that shaped you, and using your strength to lift others up. Revive had given materials a second life. But more importantly, it had given Zara a second life. And now, through the foundation, it would give countless others the same opportunity. The next morning, Zara returned to the office to find her team buzzing with excitement. Leo had just finalized a deal with a major department store chain, 300 locations nationwide. Rashid had designed a new line that was already getting buzz on social media. Maya had secured a feature in Vogue about Revive's social mission. But the moment that made Zara's heart soar was when Nicole Torres walked through the door, portfolio in hand, eyes bright with hope. "You said to come by if I wanted to hear more about the foundation," Nicole said nervously. "I did," Zara confirmed, standing and shaking her hand. "But I also want to offer you something else. We have an internship program for emerging designers. Room and board included, plus a small stipend. You'd work with Rashid, learn the business, develop your skills." "Interested?" Nicole's knees buckled, and Zara caught her. "Are you serious?" "Completely serious," Zara said. "You have talent, Nicole. You just need an opportunity to develop it. What do you say?" "Yes," Nicole sobbed. "Yes, absolutely yes." As Zara showed Nicole around the workshop, introducing her to the team, explaining the process, she caught her own reflection in a window. 5 years ago, she'd been broken, sleeping in her car, convinced her life was over. Now she was creating opportunities for others to rebuild their lives. Vincent's words echoed in her mind, "Build something nobody can take from you." She had. Revive wasn't just a company. It was a movement, a belief system, a testament to the power of second chances. It was proof that your worst moment didn't define you, that rock bottom could be the foundation for something extraordinary. That evening, as the team celebrated their department store deal, Zara stepped outside for air. The city stretched out before her, millions of lights, millions of stories, millions of people fighting their own battles. Somewhere out there was another person sleeping in their car, another person who'd lost everything, another person who just needed someone to believe in them. She pulled out her phone and called Vincent. "I've been thinking," she said when he answered. "The foundation should be bigger. Not just microloans, but a full accelerator program. Mentorship, resources, workspace. Everything someone needs to turn their idea into reality. That's ambitious, Vincent said, but she could hear the smile in his voice. And expensive. I'm putting $5 million into it, Zara said. It's the right thing to do. Actually, it's the only thing to do. There was a long pause. Then Vincent said, "You know, when I gave you that $100, I thought maybe you'd use it to get back on your feet, get a job, return to a normal life." I never imagined this. Neither did I, Zara admitted. But that's the thing about second chances. You never know where they'll lead. You just have to be brave enough to take them. So, what's next for Zara Moretti? Vincent asked. She looked back through the window at her team, at Nicole laughing with Rashid, at Leo and Maya planning the next marketing campaign. She thought about the applications on her desk, the lives waiting to be transformed, the potential ready to be unleashed. Next, Zara smiled. Next, we change the world. One person, one product, one second chance at a time. And that's exactly what she did. The Vincent Cross Foundation launched 6 months later, a full-scale accelerator program housed in a renovated warehouse. In its first year, it supported 42 entrepreneurs, helping them launch businesses in everything from technology to catering to fashion. Nicole Torres became one of the program's first success stories, launching her own sustainable jewelry line that was featured in Elle magazine. Revive continued to grow, expanding into 70 countries, but Zara never forgot where she came from. She kept her old Honda Civic, the one she'd slept in, parked in the warehouse as a reminder. Employees would pass it every day, and new hires would hear the story, understanding that their boss wasn't someone who'd been handed success. She'd fought for every single inch of it. 5 years after launching the foundation, Zara stood once again at Mrs. Chen's coffee shop. The owner, now 82, was retiring and Zara had bought the building. Not to demolish it, but to preserve it. She transformed half of it into a free co-working space for entrepreneurs who were homeless or housing insecure. The other half remained Mrs. Chen's coffee shop, exactly as it had always been, a monument to the place where everything changed. At the ribbon-cutting ceremony, Zara stood before a crowd of reporters, city officials, and members of the community. Vincent was there, now in his late 60s, standing beside her. Patricia Ashford was there too, having become one of the foundation's biggest donors after her change of heart. Damian Caldwell was conspicuously absent, his company having filed for bankruptcy the previous year after multiple scandals. "This coffee shop saved my life," Zara told the crowd. Not because of the coffee, but because of a conversation that happened at that corner table. A stranger saw potential in me when I couldn't see it in myself. He gave me $100 and advice that became the foundation of everything I've built. Today, we're ensuring that this place continues to be a sanctuary for dreamers, for strivers, for people who just need a chance. She unveiled the plaque beside the door, the Vincent Cross Community Space, where second chances begin. Vincent was crying, not even trying to hide it. Zara hugged him, whispering, "Thank you for everything." "No," Vincent said firmly, pulling back to look at her. "Thank you. You took what I gave you and multiplied it beyond anything I could have imagined. You're not just my success story, Zara. You're your own." That night, Zara sat in the same corner booth where Vincent had found her 7 years earlier. Nicole Torres sat across from her, now a successful designer with her own growing brand. Beside Nicole was a young man named Marcus, one of the foundation's newest participants, a former foster kid with a revolutionary app idea. "So you just give people money and hope they succeed?" Marcus asked skeptically. "No," Zara said, sliding a cup of coffee toward him. "We give people belief. The money is just a tool. What matters is that someone looks at you and says, 'I see your potential. I believe you can do this.' That belief, that validation, that's what changes everything." "And what if we fail?" Marcus asked. "Then you fail," Zara said simply. "Failure isn't the end. I failed at dozens of jobs before this. I failed at relationships. I failed at staying housed. But failure is just information. It tells you what doesn't work so you can find what does. The only real failure is giving up on yourself." Marcus nodded slowly, then looked at her directly. Why do you do this? You're rich now. You could be on a beach somewhere. Why are you here, in this coffee shop, talking to people like me? Zara smiled. Because someone did it for me. And because I know something that took me a long time to learn. Success isn't about what you accumulate. It's about what you give back. Every person we help through the foundation, every job we create at Revive, every life we touch, that's the real wealth. Money comes and goes. But the impact you have on someone's life? That's forever. She reached into her bag and pulled out a small leather wallet, beautifully crafted from recycled materials. She slid it across the table to Marcus. This was the second thing I ever made, she said. I want you to have it. Keep it as a reminder that everything you need to succeed is already inside you. You just need the courage to start. Marcus held the wallet like it was made of gold, tears streaming down his face. I won't let you down. You couldn't let me down even if you tried, Zara said. Just promise me one thing. When you make it, and you will make it, find someone else who needs what you needed today. Pass it forward. 3 years later, Marcus's app had been acquired for $12 million. He'd used part of the money to fund scholarships for foster youth and had become a mentor in the Vincent Foundation. Nicole's jewelry line was in 200 stores and employed 15 people, 30% of them from homeless shelters. The foundation had helped launch over 300 businesses, creating more than 2,000 jobs. Revive had become a $100 million global brand, but more importantly, it had become a symbol. A symbol that your past didn't determine your future, that rock bottom wasn't the end, but the beginning, that everyone deserved a second chance. Zara was 40 years old now, and she'd been invited to speak at the United Nations about social entrepreneurship and economic empowerment. Standing before world leaders and changemakers, she told her story one more time. But this time, she ended it differently. I'm often asked what the secret to my success was, Zara said, her voice carrying through the assembly hall. People want a formula, a hack, a shortcut. But there is no shortcut. The secret is this: someone believed in me before I believed in myself. And that belief gave me permission to try. We live in a world where we're taught that success is individual, that we pull ourselves up by our own bootstraps. But that's a myth. We succeed because someone helps us. Someone sees us. Someone invests in us, not just with money, but with faith. She paused, looking out at the sea of faces. Vincent gave me $100 and one piece of advice 7 years ago. That $100 is long spent. But that advice? I live it every single day. Build something nobody can take from you. I built a company, yes. But more than that, I built a life of purpose. I built a legacy of second chances. I built a movement that says your worst day doesn't define you, your comeback does. The assembly erupted in applause. Zara saw Vincent in the audience, now 70 years old, standing and clapping with tears streaming down his face. Beside him stood Leo, her brother, now Revive COO and a father to twin girls. Maya was there too, having left her corporate job to become Revive's chief marketing officer. Rashid sat beside them, now the company's creative director and a celebrated designer in his own right. But the person who made Zara's heart soar was in the back row, the young woman from the coffee shop years ago, the one Zara had approached just like Vincent had approached her. She was holding a sign that read, "Because of Zara, I believed. Because I believed, I succeeded. Because I succeeded, I'm helping others believe." That evening, Zara returned to her loft. The walls were covered with photos now, a visual timeline of the journey. The eviction notice from her apartment. A picture of her car with the broken window. The first messenger bag. The first Instagram post. The crowdfunding campaign. The first store. Vincent handing her the foundation's first check. Nicole's jewelry line launch. Marcus holding his app acquisition check. But her favorite photo was new. It was from last month, taken at Mrs. Chen's coffee shop. In it, Zara sat across from a teenage girl named Sophia, a recent high school graduate who'd been living in her car with her sick mother. Sophia had a notebook full of business ideas for a mobile health clinic serving underserved communities. In the photo, Zara was sliding something across the table, a $100 bill and Vincent's business card. The cycle was complete. The gift had been passed forward once again. Zara's phone rang. It was Vincent. "Did you see the news?" he asked, excitement in his voice. "What news?" "Sophia's crowdfunding campaign. It went live this morning. She's already raised $50,000 for the mobile health clinic. Zara, she's going to make it." Zara felt tears streaming down her face. Of course she is. She has something nobody can take from her: belief. "You know what the best part is?" Vincent said. In her campaign video, she tells the story of a woman who approached her in a coffee shop and gave her $100 and advice that changed her life. She doesn't mention your name, doesn't mention Revive. She just says, "A stranger believed in me, and now I believe in myself." "That's how it should be," Zara said softly. "It was never about me or you or Revive. It's about the belief that gets passed from person to person, the gift that keeps giving." "I'm proud of you, Zara." "Beyond words." "I'm proud of us," Zara corrected. "You started this. I just kept it going. And Sophia will keep it going after me. And someone will keep it going after her. That's the real empire we built, Vincent. Not a company. A movement of people who refuse to give up on themselves or each other." They talked for another hour, reminiscing about the journey, marveling at how far they'd come. When Zara finally hung up, she walked to her window and looked out at the city. Somewhere out there, someone was sleeping in their car tonight. Somewhere out there, someone had just lost everything. Somewhere out there, someone was one conversation away from changing their entire life. And tomorrow, Zara would go back to Mrs. Chen's coffee shop, sit in that corner booth, and wait. Wait for the next person who needed to hear what she needed to hear 7 years ago. You are not broken. You are not finished. You are just getting started. Because that's what Vincent had taught her. Success wasn't measured in dollars or stores or headlines. Success was measured in lives touched, in second chances given, in people who got back up after being knocked down. Zara Moretti had gone from homeless to owning a $100 million global brand. But the real fortune wasn't in her bank account. It was in the hundreds of people who now had jobs, the thousands who'd been inspired by her story, and the countless more who would be touched by the ripple effect of one stranger's kindness in a coffee shop. She'd built something nobody could ever take from her, a legacy of hope, resilience, and second chances. And that, she knew, was worth more than all the money in the world. The end. But really, it's just the beginning. Because somewhere tonight, someone is reading this story, someone who's sleeping in their car or facing their own rock bottom, and they're thinking, if she could do it, maybe I can too. And that thought, that spark of possibility, that's how empires are really built. One belief at a time. One person at a time. One second chance at a time. If this story inspired you, don't keep it to yourself. Share it with someone who needs to hear it today. Hit that subscribe button, smash the like, and tell us in the comments, what's your comeback story? We believe in you, and we can't wait to hear how you rise.